Dr. Dumberry, thank you very much for accepting our invitation and for being in Armenia today. Can you say a couple of words about the forum that you're taking part in at the moment?
So yes, it's a magnificent atmosphere. It's frankly very moving also to be here in Armenia for this event. I was really fortunate to be invited by the government to do a speech, and I've learned a lot, and I'm really happy to be here for this celebration in memories of those who died in the genocide.
Is this the first time you're here?
It's my first time in Armenia, so when I was asked to come here, I did not hesitate for a second because I knew it may be my last time. I hope not, but certainly, absolutely. So I'm having a great time in Armenia.
Welcome.
Thank you.
How did you get interested and how did you get to know the Armenian issues and particularly the question of Armenian genocide?
I was invited to do a conference in 2012 by Aram I to deal with some issues related to international law regarding the genocide. And I was asked to deal with a very basic issue, which is the Ottoman Empire the same state as Turkey?
Yes.
And then this is also the topic of my presentation today.
Is Turkey the successor state of the Ottoman Empire?
So Turkey is the exact same state as the Ottoman Empire, and this is important to the extent that if one is seeking reparation for the damage done to the people, for the massacre, if one is seeking compensation and restitution,
yes,
you need to establish a link with the perpetrators, those who committed the crime. And since it is the same state, the link is direct, and this is the first step in the context of reparation, restitution and compensation.
We have heard a lot of arguments by Turkey, but not only by Turkey, that they do not carry any responsibility for the acts of the Ottoman Empire. So what do they base their argument on, and what is the counter-argument?
Well, their argument is to say that in 1923, Turkey was officially created, and their society they created was so different from the past that they cannot be held responsible for something that they did not commit. And they would also argue that their society has changed so much at so many different levels. It was some sort of tabula rasa, a clean slate. And in that sense, they would argue that there's no link between them and what happened 100 years ago. But clearly, these are political matters. These are political, historical issues. Under international law, there is that link. So they cannot deny that link. And recently, some scholars from Turkey have also recognized that there is a link, and potentially there is also an issue of compensation that would arise from these crimes. Even if it were committed 100 years ago, there's no prescription, that doesn't matter.
So, and based on what can we say that it is a successor state? Exactly based on what?
So the argument by Turkey would be to say that we lost 75% of our territory, so therefore we're not the same state. We lost 75% of the population, therefore we're not the same state. And these criteria are irrelevant. What is relevant is whether or not the core of the state, the core of the Turkish nation still existed after 1923, which is the case. So Turkey, the territory of Turkey increased and then decreased, but ultimately what was left was the heartland of the Turkish nation. And also other states have refused to recognize Turkey as a new state. Other states have wanted Turkey to be responsible for the wrong and also for the debt of the Ottoman Empire. So the Lausanne Treaty is clear to that respect. Turkey is the exact same state as the Ottoman Empire.
Okay.
And all states have refused to recognize Turkey's claim to the effect that it was a new state. So as a result, it is not a new state, it's the exact same state.
I don't know if you have studied the Sevres Treaty.
Yes.
And if you can comment on that. According to the Sevres Treaty, Woodrow Wilson boundaries.
Yeah, the award.
Yeah. So I just would like you to
yes,
comment on whether it's valid or not.
This is it's a difficult question. I think it is valid under international law. The award gave a big chunk of territory that is now Turkish territory, but should have belonged to Armenia. Then again, the issue of border is very sensitive, and it's a very explosive issue. So if I were in the shoes of the government of Armenia, I would be reluctant to take that path.
Yeah.
I would seek reparation, restitution of church property, for instance, restitution of houses for those who lost their houses.
Okay.
and a global settlement of money to be given to the victims. But changing the borders, it seems to me that this is a bit of a non-starter, and it would, I think, Turkey would be very reluctant to go that way. So I think you may be right under international law, but ultimately these issues are really political, and I think you want to be careful with the Turkish government and take it step by step.
And what steps should we take in terms of international tribunal or?
Well, the difficulty is, of course, the venue.
What is the path?
The venue are limited to the extent. One potential venue would be the International Court of Justice, but in order to go before the International Court of Justice, you need to have consented to the jurisdiction of the court, and Turkey has not consented to the jurisdiction of the court.
Is that a problem?
It is a problem because you cannot bring Turkey to the tribunal, and there's no other tribunal, no other venue. If you want to start a case, let's say in Canada against Turkey, Turkey will say, rightly, that it has diplomatic immunity and it has immunity as a state. So there's an immunity for jurisdictional issues in the context of a claim started before a national court. In other words, you cannot start a claim before a sovereign state in the national court of a state. So I think the avenues are rather limited. The legal avenues are rather limited. Politically, that's probably what you should seek recognition of the existence of the genocide from other states. This is what you do now, and eventually this will put pressure on Turkey to recognize the genocide itself. So it's a long path.
But in order for Turkey to pay any reparations, is it necessary for Turkey to recognize it officially?
Yes, I think there's the other option of it's under international law. It is called compensation ex gratia. Would basically mean with no feeling of responsibility. So Germany, for instance, never recognized its legal responsibility for the Holocaust, but recognized its moral responsibility and paid billions of dollars to the survivors. So you can do it, but you need to have political willingness, and you need to also be sincere. So there's no basic requirement to recognize the genocide before providing compensation, but of course it would help, and it would also help that if the Turkish government was of good faith and recognizes these massacres, they would open the door for eventual compensation.
Right. Thank you very much. Is there anything you would like to add?
That's fine. Thank you so much for having me.